to use and why.
Welcome to the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast.
We're your hosts, David and Elle Denning.
What happens when a millennial couple dives headfirst into the insurance world, scales $1 million remote business, and decides to share the journey with the world?
You get the Modern Insurance Agent.
Here, we reveal the messy, magical, and sometimes hilarious realities of building a business and a life you love.
From traveling the globe to building remote teams. Yes, even working remotely on top of a mountain in the Philippines. We're sharing insights, strategies, and plenty of laughs to help agents and entrepreneurs succeed.
Because, let's face it, success isn't just about hitting numbers.
It's about designing a life that works for you.
So let's dive in and build something extraordinary together.
Welcome back to the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast. Today we're diving into the question almost every agent asks once they start trying to market themselves online. Reels, stories, post. What the heck is the difference and which one should I actually be using? But first, okay, where can agents get all the show notes and goodies that we got put together for them, Elle?
Absolutely. So if you want to get started with marketing your business organically, which is what we talk about a lot on this podcast, that means without having to pay for ads or lead vendors, head on over to jumpstartgonow.com/podcast. Not only will you get all of the podcast notes, plus the notes from our past podcasts, we have some marketing guides over there for you too, to help you get started with your own organic lead generation.
I love it. And this podcast is on Spotify, Apple, and more. So go give it a listen. Drop it a review if you especially love us. We would appreciate that. And dive on in, as we got some awesome past episodes for you guys as well. So yeah. Elle, it can feel overwhelming, right? Like, we get it. If you've ever opened up Facebook or Instagram, stared at that create button and just close the app, you're not alone. I think we've all been there, right? So we're going to break it all down today in plain language, which is the only language I know, so that you know what each content format is for. Yes, there is a purpose to each one. How to use them strategically, even better, and how they actually work to grow your business organically. No paid ads, no paid boosted post, any of that. So, Elle, let's get started. Like, what's the heck is the difference?
Let's go ahead and clear up the confusion, because we actually just got asked this question the other day at a workshop that we were hosting in person for about 30 agents. And they were like, what's the difference between a post, a reel, and a story? It seems really confusing. How do I use them? When do I use them? And what the heck are they?
And it was a very good question, right? And we first polled the audience to get some of their responses, which were very varied. So, you know, it's not everybody knows or is able to kind of really tell what they expect it's for, right? And that's what we want to clear up so that you guys can feel confident of, oh, clearly this is how I use this, or this is how I use this, right? Like, as far as when it comes to a coffee maker at home, or, you know, your spoon and a spatula, you know the differences between those, right? I hope. I don't know. It's all kitchen stuff to me, but coffee is where I get pumped up for the day, right? So yeah. So let's dive into that. So let's dive into the very first thing. Let's say reels, right? A lot of you guys have seen reels, whether Instagram or Facebook. These short videos that make you laugh, that capture your interest, and are short enough that you just hooked into the next one, right? So let's see what these are really designed for. They're designed for discoverability, right? You know, all those people that you're seeing the reels of, you don't personally know them, right? You're not like friends with them. You haven't connected. You haven't spoken with them. You're actually discovering new things. In fact, the platform's actually trying to show you what they think you might even like, right? And so this is reaching people who you don't know yet. Think short form video, scroll stopping entertainment, and quick tips. It's a great way for people to learn about you, what you do, maybe how you help others, but also in a fun and entertaining way.
Yeah, and it's super important to have what's called that hook at the very beginning, where you're hooking them in the first 3 seconds of the video, again, because they don't really know you. So if you've heard about a hook before and how important it is for the first 3 seconds of your video to really capture attention, that's why.
Think like Captain Hook, right? Like, he grabs you at the hook and captures your interest, right? So I don't know. That's a good analogy for me. Whatever. So So tell us a little bit on stories here.
Yeah, so stories are different. They can be either videos or photos, but the big thing about stories is that they're temporary. They
Mm.
disappear after 24 hours, and they're also really good for connection. One of the reasons why we love stories so much is because they actually help you get into Messenger when people are responding to your stories. That comes in as a direct message to you. So if you're using social media to have conversations, which ideally you are, stories is a fantastic way to do that. It's also a low pressure way to get started with social media because it does disappear after 24 hours. It's great for behind the scenes content, personal updates, and just increasing that visibility overall.
And we actually gave this advice over at the event last Friday for agents to just record like little pieces throughout their day, walking in the office, sitting down at their desk, hitting a call or a meeting with a prospect, having lunch. At the end of the day, you don't even have to talk on that. It can be just little short clips. It could be images too, like photos. But you can have all that stuff as your stories, and it's just low pressure of day in the life. Think of it as kind of day in the life, and that's a great place to start on stories. And like Elle said, perfect for getting into those messenger combos where you're one-on-one talking with someone and continuing off, especially if that story was related to something that you do, right? And Elle made the point, if you're using social for conversations, guys, that's literally what you should be using social media for. It's what it's built for. That's why so many agents use it and leverage it. Is this a platform literally built to get into conversations with people and connect, which is literally what agents are trying to do, is connect with people, help them protect their families, their lives, their finances, their health, everything there on a platform that's literally built for it. So definitely be using social media that way, as that's the whole point. And that's what we're talking about as well. And side note, yes, we will come out and train teams on social media and have fun with them. And yeah, we had prizes, we had fun, we got amazing feedback from them as well. And so yeah, if you've got a large team, want to connect and talk, definitely let us know. We're always happy to do that, and we have a good time with it. So we got reels, we got stories. What's left is post, right? You mean when I post a reel, it's not a regular post on my profile? No, those are different, and we're going to talk about that right here as well. This is your feed. This is like your normal post. I go to my profile, I click post. I can do a text, I can do text and an image, I can do an image, I can do a video. And so when I post there, what's the difference between reels and stories and that post? Is this is more static. This showcases your value, authority, and personality. Think of it as your reputation builder. And this is primarily going out to people that I'm connected with. My friends, my followers are seeing this content, which is different than reels, where it's new people that haven't ever seen me before.
So one helps you get discovered. That's reels that we talked about. One helps you nurture and increase that visibility and build the connection. That's your stories. And then one builds your trust and your authority. Those are going to be more of your static post.
Exactly. Most agents just throw stuff up randomly without understanding each format has a job to do, and therefore there's no real strategy behind it, therefore no real results behind it, right? So if you guys are going to spend time doing social media, let's do it right and let's get results out of it. Otherwise, yeah, maybe it's not worth spending the time there versus something else that you're going to use strategically. So if you're like, hey, I understand it's an opportunity, I want to get results out of it, cool. Then just listen, follow along, and take action on what we were talking about here so that you get actual value out of this, not just learning, right? So with that, we're going to talk about how to use each one strategically right here. So let's walk through how we coach our agents to actually use these formats. Elle, what would you say to someone just getting started?
Focus on your post. Don't let it be too overwhelming. Building the habit is definitely more important than getting all of the content formats right. So just posting like a feed post, we typically say about 5 times a week is a good amount of content to be posting. And then you want to mix in that personal with your value and your authority. Now, as you start developing content strategy, and how we work with our clients is we do have them start including reels. So your posts, you're going to post those about 2 to 4 3 to 4 times per week. And then your reels 1 to 2 times per week. And those are really, your reels are really, really good to start delivering educational content, little quick tips, maybe things that are happening in the industry. And so if you can start mixing in the posts, which are those static feed posts, along with reels, still about posting 5 times per week, but including that video, that's a really, really good mixture of content. And then you can start adding in the stories, which you can even repurpose the content that you're already posting. Or, like we mentioned, that can be great behind the scenes content that you can start using, asking your audience questions. So, using like the poll feature, asking questions and stories is really good, again, because those come back to you in Messenger. And you want to think about it as a way to have conversations with people.
Yeah, so I don't have to create a different piece of content for each type. I can actually repurpose there. So if I have a 30-second clip of me answering a common question that prospects or clients ask me, then I can have that as a post with that video. I can have that as a reel, and I can include that as part of my story. Same piece of content used in 3 different areas, and different people seeing those, interacting with those as well. So, but if you take one thing away from this, is to, one, be consistent in your posting as well. And then, yes, the different formats that you can do here, and what each of those do for you. So to break it down, stories is visibility and connection. Posts are educational and authority building, and reels are visibility and growth, like new audiences discovering you, paying attention to you. Maybe, hey, this guy's funny, but also I like his content. It's educational. Let me connect with him, send him a friend request or a following request, right? Awesome, Mel.
Yeah, so when people say social media doesn't work for them, most of the time it's because they aren't really utilizing some of these different types of content structures, or maybe they've heard, oh, Reels is where it's at, and they're just focusing all of their time into short form video. Or maybe they're putting out just all business related content instead of mixing in lifestyle content, and really creating a strategy and a variety of posts that does all of these things, because you not only need to reach new audience and become discoverable, but you also need to nurture that audience. And then you also have to have a mechanism for connection and messenger as well.
So, Elle, who are the people that are most likely to buy from you?
People that know, like, and trust you.
And people that are either bought from you or, yes, have spent time watching you, what you say. Now they trust you some more, like, hey, I'll actually have this conversation with you. So if you spend all your time focusing on those who have no idea who you are, haven't know anything about you, no trust with you, it's going to be really hard. And the example of that is, yeah, I focus only on reels and only put reels out. This is constantly generally going to an audience that's never seen me. So that's why it is important for the posts, the stories, because these are people already warmed up that you're more likely to get in conversations, convert, where reels just helps feed more into that. So think about the strategy, guys, of moving along. It's not just using it consistently. And it's not magic, it's a system. And that's what we're really talking about here, of how to use social. So
and now let's talk about what the real magic is. I know you just said it wasn't magic, but what actually makes this work at the end of the day is you.
yes.
We talk about this a lot. Personal branding. David just said it. And people work with people, right? So, David, why is it so important to bring in that personal brand for people to showcase themselves and their personality in their social media content?
Okay, so at the very basic, hopefully we can all agree on this. People work with people, not faceless entities, not faceless companies. At the end of the day, even if I reach out to a company, I'm still going to interact with somebody, especially when it comes down to things I trust the most: my finances, my family, my possessions, my health, which is what you guys literally help people with, right? So people at the end of the day work with people they know, like, and trust. They feel like look out for their best interests, understand their situation, can explain things in a way they understand. That's people, that's you, and that's really the most important asset you have, is yourself, right? And so this is your face, If mine's not breaking the camera, yours isn't going to be. So don't worry about that, right? Your voice, not exactly a radio voice here, but yes, my voice and your story matters, right? All of that is you, and all of this is a very, very important and is the magic Elle is talking about. So a lot of agents will hide behind logos or generic content, just post images that they're not even in, and there's no trust, authority, or anything with that particular agent. It's just random content, and honestly, I don't even know who the agent is, so it doesn't really help anything. You're the magic.
Yeah. You are the brand. And I know that can sometimes feel a little scary for a lot of agents, especially if they're new to personal branding or new to putting their face out on social media. But the reality is that clients want to know you and they want to like you and they want to trust you. A lot of times we just aren't giving them the opportunity to get to know us. It's like walking into a networking event or going to a expo. Maybe if you're going to like a senior expo or a bridal expo and you're an exhibitor and you're setting up a booth, it would be like putting a paper bag over your head and just putting your logo on it. Like we would never do that. So we want to use social media in the same way. Let people see your face, get to know you, and don't just post about insurance, post about who you are. Being boring is way more dangerous than not being perfect or failing at social media. But honestly, the only way that you'll fail out at it is by not being consistent or not getting started to begin with.
I love that. I love that. Insurance is boring enough. We don't need to compound that by also being boring, right? And that's why the agents who win a lot are also usually the ones who can make insurance fun and interesting. They use stories, they use analogies, they use metaphors, they relate it to their audience, right? And this is not just insurance, this is really any type of sales, but especially in something like insurance. We're not selling Lamborghinis, flashy, fun, look amazing, right? We're selling insurance. Like, what the heck is it? Why am I paying for something I don't use, right? And so that's where, guys, let your personality shine, be interesting, and honestly, that's who people choose to work with and trust, and then we'll trust with more and more, guys. So how do we put all this together? How do we all make this all work, Elle?
Yeah. So you really want to use those posts. So more your static feed. I also really like post for longer form written content. Tends to do really well with like a selfie photo. But this is a great way to build that trust and authority. And especially if you're trying to like shift mindset on anything, for example, so like educating around life insurance, for example, posts can be very impactful if you're sharing your own story or a client story and doing it in a written format. So using that post to build that trust and authority. Reels are really where you're going to be growing your audience and becoming discoverable. So you want to think about reels to keep it kind of high energy, maybe something that people don't know already about insurance. Like David was saying, insurance is pretty boring. Your reels, you want to think about how you can bring engagement, education, entertainment into these short video sound bites. Kelly Spees, I got to give her a shout out because I've been seeing a lot of her content recently. And she does a fantastic job of this. She brings a lot of energy to her reels. She makes them exciting and fun and easy to watch. That's really what you want to think about with your reels content to grow your audience. And then stories, again, you want to use questions in your stories. Like doing polls can be really good. Or even if you're repurposing content, you can do the text overlay in your stories to ask a question to get people to respond and to get them in conversation. It's also just good daily practice if you're already posting on your feed. If you're already doing those reels, you can pretty easily repurpose your reels into a story as well.
I love it. Elle, what if agents, say, what if I'm boring?
We have clients that say that to us all of the time.
All the time. I think everybody thinks they're boring.
And then I tell them about, well, my life isn't that exciting either. I work 10 hours a day.
It's true. On a good day.
In this office for most of my days, I am in office behind Zoom, speaking with clients, talking to insurance agents. That doesn't mean that just because I have a routine and just because I do normal things doesn't make me boring, and it doesn't make you boring. A lot of times we think that, oh, great social media content is about living this exciting life, when the reality is that most people are coming to social media for connection and community more than seeing like exotic places or where their friends are traveling to. So the more that you can actually make your content relatable, so things like your morning routine, your coffee, like how do you like to drink your coffee, breakfast, what does your morning routine look like for your kids, how do you manage being a parent and an entrepreneur, business owner, taking quick selfies of yourself with your clients. If you're meeting them in person, that's great. Or even on Zoom, have them like wave and take a little selfie together. There's so many things that you can start incorporating into your social media content. And a lot of it has to come with just documenting your day. And it's actually very relatable content because that's what everybody else is doing. And you want to really focus on making that connection, building community. Think about your social media profile as a space for people that are your audience to connect, have conversations, ask questions, and feel part of something. And when you make that switch, that it's not about having the fanciest content or showing an extravagant lifestyle, and more that it's about creating a space for community, I think that will really change the way that you approach your content.
I love it. Elle, your net worth is your
network.
And where can we build the spider web of people we're connected with in conversations and trust and clients and referral partners and prospects?
Well, there's 3 billion people using Facebook every single month. So that's probably a good place to start.
So it is literally built for that, and then therefore I can utilize it for that as well. So, and guys, we're all interesting in some way, especially to our target audience and who we'd love to work with. Are usually people we have either things in common, similar passions or interests, and I can absolutely target my audience to also include that. Even if I work with a senior audience or a younger audience and I'm into like kind of fitness or pickleball, cool, I can target that to exactly part of my target market who I work with, for example. So nobody's born. I have clients that are interested in like, World War II history, and there's a big focus to them. And absolutely, there's entire giant populations that are super interested in that, and I can relate that to my target audience and getting connected with them. To had some clients literally say they were boring and found out that them and their daughters were very big into drag racing and competed, which
that's
like the opposite of boring to me, right? But at the end of the day, people think content needs to look a certain way, and it doesn't, right? Like we're here to connect, and that's what I want to talk about. It's not about going viral. Viral doesn't really mean a whole lot, right? I can have a whole bunch of people see stuff, but if they're not people I can help with insurance or connections, or they're all overseas and stuff like that, going viral, hey, cool, more people know who I am a bit, but it may not translate exactly to what I want of me connecting with a smaller but my exact audience that I can help, right? So it's about being consistent more than it is trying to go viral. And each format builds off the other, like we mentioned. Like the different formats each have a reason, a strategy. So it's not which one do I use, but how do I use them together, like we talked about. And your content is how you scale relationships. It's a great way to introduction to them oh, okay, this person knows what he's talking about, building some trust, rapport. In fact, I didn't even know what he just mentioned there. You know what? I should probably reach out, talk to him about that too. Hey, I'm a client of his now. I love his content. You know what? Let me connect this other person with him there. That I think this would also be useful for. These are all great ways to grow that relationships and those connections and that network through social.
I love that. Relationships at scale. That is so what social media is. And I can't tell you how many clients or people that we talk to in this space, and they'll say things like, "Oh, I'm just not like you and David." If they've been following us for any amount of time, they see that we're putting out social media content regularly and that we're having a good time doing it. But the reality is that David and I weren't just like born growing our business and using social media marketing to grow it. Like these were skills that we learned, and we only learned them by doing it. And I don't really consider myself a social media person. Like it's not like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to film social media content today. I'm so excited. David really enjoys it, but I'm not that person. And the reason why I do is because I know that it is the most effective way for me to genuinely connect with people. So not only when I get to meet them in person, there is trust and rapport there because they've been following our content, but it also allows me to meet so many interesting people that I would have never met otherwise. So again, social media isn't just about like fancy content or showcasing your lifestyle or having to put yourself out there in an uncomfortable way. It's really about allowing people to get to know you and thinking about using it as a relationship building tool. And the truth is that most agents aren't failing because they're not good at social media. They're usually just approaching it in the wrong way.
I love it. And once you understand the purpose of each piece of content, you can actually make a plan that gets results. And that's what we're talking about here is how to actually put a strategy together, how to actually use things with a purpose so that you actually get results from that. Like if you just picked up a phone and just hit random numbers to try to call to someone, unless the odds are infinite of you just hitting a random numbers getting the person you wanted, right? Versus actually having a plan and right dialing the right number there. So it's the same thing with the content. If I have the plan, I know I'm putting in place, I'm not wasting time. I'm investing time in building and scaling my business. And with people that are already there to connect anyways, I don't have to chase them down. And as I build more and more of this network, they connect me with more and more to honestly, I can sit back and just stuff flows in from that and just bigger and bigger connections from there, right? And I know that's what agents want because they tell me every single day that's what they want, right? And at the end of the day, it's interesting because I'll ask them before they've told me what they want. I'll ask, hey, do you want people that are warm, know who you are, trust you, have been warmed up and ready to sit and talk and find solutions, or got referred over from someone they trust immensely and have done business with to you as a solution? Or do you want people that you've got to try to chase down, try to get in touch with, that don't trust you, don't want to talk to you, don't remember filling things out and stuff on that side? And they say, well, I want the warm people that are ready to do business with me, trust me, and indoctrinated. Absolutely. And then I ask them, what are you doing every day? I was like, well, I'm doing the opposite of that, right? And so just think about, hey, what am I doing each day? What am I putting in place? And do I have a strategy behind it? And is it ultimately leading to the results I want? And if not, maybe I need to change something because nothing changes unless something changes, right? I think that's a rule or something. The definition of sanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So I think we're all a little insane some days, but the important thing is we don't stay insane, right? So what do we got coming up, Bill?
Yeah, so next week we're going to be diving even deeper into this topic. We're going to be talking about how social media really isn't magic, but it truly is a system. So subscribe. We also really would appreciate if you would leave our podcast a review as we are growing the Modern Insurance Agent podcast. And then if you want to grab the notes from this episode or our past episodes, as well as download all of the marketing goodies that we have for you, head on over to jumpstartgonow.com/podcast, and we'll send all of those resources to your email.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in to the Modern Insurance Agents podcast. Go post something today. You've got everything you need.